Ulonga tabati yada to ye ko mada ifa. Inu to ye ko jeun. Ulon fi bipa. Obatala, Obatakutakun. Songo Eshu, Ogun Oya Osun. Kini ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o. Ó jẹ́ lọ́jà.
Yeah, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Gbemi. Today we have back on the legendary Oloye Baba Ifa Karade. Baba, once again, it's an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate you joining us. Peace and blessings. How you doing, Baba?
Peace and blessings, Lafiani. All right, peace and blessings out to all my people, all the people out there. You know, one love. We here, making wisdom happen. All right.
I say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So, Baba, last time I spoke to you, man, you was ready to come up in this thing and go in and go hard, and you did just that. So, I appreciate you as always, and let's just jump right into it, man. I had a very, I'll say a very impactful week this week. A lot of work, you know, and things happening in a positive way, and then, you know, also getting an opportunity to work with some people in the community, and throughout, you know, some of the work happening. I had a really profound experience with nature, you know, playing a role into some of the rituals and the offerings, you know, that was given to the Orisha. And so, you know, I really wanted to kind of get your opinion on, is that something that's regular? Is it something that happens on a regular basis? Is it normal for, you know, the elements of nature to kind of participate when you're giving offerings to these deities, or like how has your experience been with that? Because I definitely wanted to see, you know, what your take was on it before I share what happened, you know, with mine, with you, and with the audience.
Right. Well, straight up, okay. We are nature, okay.
Sure.
You know, and nature is always going to speak to us, regardless of what we do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The question becomes, are we open to it?
Mm.
You know, how deeply do we perceive it?
Mm.
How effectively do we translate it?
Mm.
Okay. Now, the priestly order, sacerdotal order of we, of Isheshe, of Ifa, okay, at some point need to realize that we must communicate with nature.
Mm. Sure.
That we must attune ourselves to that frequency, to that level of clarity.
Mm.
That the sound of a bird is a prayer.
Sure.
The droplets of rain is a baptism.
Sure.
The baby speaks ancestrally. The stillness of the water when the fire breath is heard. You understand? All is in the voice of nature. We are the voice of nature.
Mm.
How well do we hear one another? How well do we perceive? How deeply? Okay. And at what capacity are we able to exercise the ability to translate not just the words, but the winds upon which the words ride? You know, the emotions of the people, the expression of the people. You see? So being involved in a way that is Olorisha, Babalorisha, Ialorisha, Babalao, Ianifa, okay, is more of a tuning self to be able to perceive, okay, to be able to translate nature. So when you're doing in a bow, for example, and a bird flies by, okay, and perches right there at that moment. Oh, it's just a bird just flying, but you know, just perched by, or it's a messenger. See? And this doesn't escape any deep faith. And I use that term loosely because the science of faith is in the attuning of those who have reached certain levels of perception. Okay. Now, if I would even use any type of analogy or comparison, I don't find it difficult for someone to get a message from a burning bush. Okay? I don't find it difficult for anyone to to get a message from the wind blowing at a particular time in a particular way. What is it that you're able to perceive? Now, that said, to answer your question, yes, but it doesn't happen just when you get initiated. It doesn't happen when you first do your abodes. It doesn't happen. It happens over time, and it happens over focus. Okay? Because if you're just doing it to be doing it, you're not going to hear.
Right.
And therefore, you're not going to perceive, and you're not going to translate. But if you're open, if you're sincere, if your mind is clear, then you're going to evolve from within without you even knowing it. And then that day is going to come when it dawns upon you that being a priest, that being a priestess isn't just a matter of having, it's a matter of becoming. And what in part are we becoming? Nature.
I like that. I like that. Listen, that's actually a mic drop, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up because I still got a lot more I want to talk about. But that's a mic drop, especially considering what we spoke about on the last episode and what we were speaking about prior to going live today on the air. In terms of like the connection of the deities of the the Yorubas and the Kemetic Nile Valley civilization. So, but that's powerful, and it really did answer my question in more ways than one, because you took it, as you always do, to multiple different levels, and you gave multiple different angles of how to, not just view it, but how to hear it and how to absorb it. And that's exactly what, we're doing in this process. And so for me, this is, I've had experiences with nature before, like you say, even before being initiated, any of that. So the first consistent, I would say, crystal clear experiences of nature communicating with me was when I say my prayers outside with water, over a bowl of water. I go outside and pray sometimes in the yard, and just to be in the elements of nature while I'm praying to the ancestors, or just giving my morning ritual prayer. But I can't remember when it started, but not too long after I started doing that, I remember the wind every single time when I did it, Baba. The wind would just have like a little nice, little subtle little, coming through. And it's that was something that was consistent as long as I went outside and prayed. Like, it really happened a high percentage of the time. I would say almost every time. I won't say every time, but as far as I remember, a vast majority of the time. So anyways, the next, I'll say, like, profound interaction that I had with nature during an Orisha or Ifa or Isheshe ceremony was during my Ifa initiation into the Igbo. And it happened all 3 days, and they were powerful, profound, powerful storms. And I know, that was attributed to Yeye Oya, which is today happens to be her and Baba Shango Day as well with the Oshe calendar. But she really made her presence known, and I felt it, to the point where I made a whole video about it. But I say all that to say, a couple of days ago when I was doing, the elbow for the client, it was literally, it was sunny, it was hot, like it was like middle of Florida summer. And as we're appeasing Eshu, as soon as we finish with the main part of the offering, at the very end, when we're closing it out, the sky automatically gets like cloudy and gray, and then light drizzle that comes down. for the rest of the time as we wrap up that offering to Eshu.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that offering is wrapped up and we open up for Ogun, it's bright and sunny again. And I'm talking about just like nothing ever happened.
Right.
We give the offering to Ogun. Literally the same exact thing that happened with Eshu happened again with Ogun. The clouds came back. It got cloudy, and it was a light drizzle, and it rained until we wrapped up Ogun. With the ancestors, it wasn't a drizzle; it was the wind.
Mm-hmm.
So we're appeasing the ancestors. The wind came, but it was the same light wind I was telling you that I had when I say my prayers, and it was so surreal, especially the two drizzles, and then when appeasing the ancestors, the light breeze, and it was profound. Like it really was. It was surreal because I'm just like, after it was all said and done, like they were literally, not only did they confirm to you prior to this part, but they reconfirmed to you that everything they were telling you is is here for you, and
Right.
and I mean it was profound. It really was. I asked permission. I was like, "Do you mind if I share this? I won't go into details with anything specific,
Mm-hmm.
that I got the blessings to do so. So I was like, I couldn't wait to talk to you about it because I figured you would have experienced it, but that was my first time experiencing it like that, and it was definitely it was a surreal moment. It was special.
Well, I feel like this. Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate you sharing it because see, these are the type of discussions that we need to have, and these are the types of discussions that people need to hear us having. Okay, because so many are imprisoned by the lack of surrealness, to borrow your term. Okay,
Yes,
and whereby involvement with Orisha takes on a very unnatural, and then that term gets twisted into supernatural. It's not supernatural, it's unnatural. We need to move up into the realism and then the surrealism. Because see, we've been in prison. We can't even think of ourselves in that light. Okay, we can think of everybody else being able to be surreal, and every other religious prophet or son of prophets or whatever, except us who are into our way, our way. Okay, so for you to share that, and of course I accept it as a reality because I've experienced it myself. I, everything about nature guided me to become a part of Isheshe. Everything about nature. Okay. I mean, I was into nature and sharing those same type of, I'm just going to have my shrine, and getting into meditation, not knowing that I was being prepared by nature.
Right.
To be an ancestral manifestation. And that ancestral manifestation was open to nature. And you got to remember, we're talking about shamans and, and we're talking about mystics and we're talking about people who have the capacity, the capacity and the ability to be. And that has to happen as a part of our genetic reality. Okay. And whether every human being has the potential, I would say, yeah, but does every human being have that genetic firing point, that triggers nature to respond? Because, because we have that ability.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you study yoga, you study Tai Chi, you study various forms of esoteric philosophies and all that kind of stuff. And we realize that there are individuals who have reached very high levels.
Right.
And are able to do what is seemingly impossible things. Surreal. Okay. The people study kung fu a long time, they're able to do things. They're like, well, man, that's crazy. You know what I mean? People, who meditate and now they can levitate, or and do all kinds of things. It's like that's beyond me. But when it comes down to our people, having that kind of capacity, the whole breaking us down to animalistic, breaking us down to slaves, breaking us down to not only 3/5 of a human being, but less than a human being, has torn us apart from that capacity. Ishe, I dare say, is the only thing that can bring us back to that essence of being nature. Not just a part of nature, but nature. And then we commune with nature, and nature communes with us. You see?
Mm-hmm.
What Catholicism and all that did, and the whole Christian thing and all that, they worked hard to diminish that, to separate it, to put it out there somewhere so that it can control the people like herded sheep.
Yeah.
And then condone the enslavement of our people to make us even less than. Okay. And then literally breed us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to the point where we've lost it. But it hasn't lost us. It knows exactly where we are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It knows exactly where we are. It's not lost. And it gives us signs through individuals like yourself, through individuals like myself. I am a living testament.
I should.
Okay. Now, the way that we must consider is Isheshe, but not the way that is being done by the whole syncretism. It's just not logical. I'm not to say it doesn't work, but what I am saying that for us specifically, okay, we need to see that there are other ways to attain that attuning. Okay. And as we discussed earlier, reconnecting with our Kemetan ancestry, as well as that movement from the Nile to the West Coast of our motherland. Okay. So that we can be okay again. So that we can be all right again. So that we can step beyond, the madness of it all and into an understanding. And into an understanding.
I sure. I agree, and I definitely appreciate it. But with that, I have an idea, but I feel like I would love to hear it from you. But with your experience and having been in ceremonies or rituals where nature made itself present without a shadow of a doubt and participated in the ceremony, right? With those two elements, with the the light drizzle, the water coming from the sky as we were closing out the offerings, and then the wind, especially the wind being attributed to making offerings and rituals to make offerings to the ancestors, with the wind being connected to Yeye Oya, and Yeye Oya also being the deity of the ancestral realm and of the ancestors, right?
I'll tell you like this. Okay. There are an infinite number of Orishas. Okay. We know what we know, and we know what we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So at every instance, it's difficult you know, to put a finger on which are the 7 major Orisha, when there's an infinite number of Orisha. There's 401 plus, you know, and there are Orisha that we may never know the names of, okay, because our people were taken, and some of them decided that they would take themselves, you know, from this earthly realm, you know, and they take their Orisha with them. Now, that said, you know, water plays a very important part, and I see where you're going with this. Okay, just to let you know that I know where you go.
I knew before I asked, but
yeah.
I got myself. I really want to hear your answer, but also for the people. I do my best to answer questions that I never.
All right, listen up, people. Since it's
That's for the people, Baba. And I want to know too.
all right. But see, water plays that important part. All right. The essence of water is the essence of life. You know? And we got to remember that, you know, even though Ya and Yemoja and all of them, they were river Orishas before they became anything else, you know. Right? And it's not just because they were river, but it's because of the association with water. Okay. Water and earth make stone. Okay. I mean, basic. All right. Now, that's all in the beginning. The earth was just a rock and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, just heated. No, it was just it was a fiery ball. That's what it was. All right. And it wasn't until the waters came. Okay. So now we have this kind of deep understanding about what nature brings. And when nature brings water, it brings a baptism. Okay. And I'm talking about the Christian baptism. I'm talking about like going back to Cometan baptisms. Well, water was put it, you know, that
was of none.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you know, we were doing this long before these folks even, you know, came into existence. You know? So here we have the water. Okay? And it's like, no, it just doesn't refresh and it just doesn't hydrate. What it does is it seeps into us. Okay. And it brings about a rejuvenation, a refreshing internally of our molecular structure of our DNA. Because without the water, then you can have all the DNA you want, but it's going to be dead.
Right.
You know, inside of you, you may have passed it on, but inside of you, it's done.
Right.
So then, when we have such a surreal experience that you had with the UFOs, and that water came, you know, comes down, and people, oh, it's a blessing from heaven. Yeah, well, you can call it heaven if you can call it whatever you want, but that water is that water. And that water has its memory, and that water has its purpose. So let's not forget our memory, and let's not forget our purpose. And let's not forget that baptism is to cleanse us internally. To cleanse us internally. So that we can become. And even when we talk about Obatala, and we talk about, you know, it shapes, you know, when the potter's wheel and all that. Well, you can't have you can't have clay if you don't have water. You just can't, you know. And then that gets, you know, modified through Western religion and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, it created man out of clay and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, Well, if you needed clay to do it, you know what I mean? And then how powerful are you? But the
Right.
whole thing is you still needed water and earth.
Facts.
Okay. So now have that. I was out in the park just few days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and scorching hot and everything, but it thunderstormed the night before. So I'm like, I'm out, it's early morning, 6 o'clock or whatever, and I'm there, and I feel these drops of water.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, what's going on? It stormed last night, it's nice out, and the water was dropping down off the tree leaves.
Mm.
Okay. I said, oh, okay. And then the birds flew close by, and they just started chirping.
Mm.
And so again, back to what we were speaking of, I can perceive it from a surreal priestly level, shamanistic, or whatever people want to call it. But it's like I'm feeling this, I'm hearing this, and when the water was hitting me, I didn't move. I just kept doing what I was doing, and I just let it, come down on me.
Wow.
Then the birds, and I said, well, I'm baptized by the heavens. The trees are baptizing me today.
Mm.
And the birds are praying over my soul, my spirit. Okay. And I need to internalize that, because see, now I feel like I'm on another level. You understand what I'm saying? Our experiences, the abodes that you make for you and the person. Okay. My experiences, as I commune with nature, they all have to be a deepening process, a process that deepens us.
Right.
And perhaps there are an infinite number of Orisha is a way of saying that there are infinite levels of deepness that we can experience as beings right here, right now.
Mm.
And then again, that becomes obvious when people who study yoga, meditation, and they're able to do certain things. We can do phenomenal things, but we're kind of again imprisoned by the concrete. How many degrees do you have? What did you invent? How much money do you have? You know what I mean? All of this. If I can't put my hand on it, then it ain't worth nothing.
Right.
But we who believe in inner self, or Orisha, are saying that, yeah, all that might be good, but you don't really know the essence of who you are, the empowerment that is granted to you. Okay. Unless you seek it from within, unless you go in, as we say, unless you deepen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's real. No, it definitely it. I mean, I know and anybody who I know we have seasoned veterans as well that watch the channel, and shout out to the elders. We've been getting phenomenal feedback. Shout out to Baba Shango Niyi, who hosts the Isheshe post on the channel. He said he got some phenomenal feedback from the elders in his community, and they got a really large community up there in the Atlanta area of the Isheshe.
Right.
He said it's making a lot of noise and waves, man. He said people are really liking it. They love it to see us, delivering this type of content where it's not, other people or other demographics that's sharing. It's us sharing it for us. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like there's been people of all nationalities that came through and showed love. I feel like that, has accepted or has embraced the channel. But he said there's been a lot of love, but what really, really, I think got both of us hyped up this morning when we were talking. He was telling me about it was the elders. He said the elders, really are co-signing and saying that, they really like, what's going on, here with this channel. So, it makes me feel, motivated to go even harder. It's to the point. I remember when we started, it was like maybe 2 videos a week, and now it's like almost every day, man.
Right. That's good, man.
And but it's like it for me. You know, I'm gonna tell you, it's spirit just spoke to me just now, literally as I'm saying this to you. But this process has literally reminded me of how profound I felt it was of support in the community or in the tribe that comes together to make any yawo for someone who goes, through that first phase of initiation. I feel like that's kind of happening with this channel because it started with a small group of us, that were me, you, and a couple of other brothers that I had that helped out in the beginning that we consistently was doing, but now we got more and more people coming together, and these aren't just people who just on here just to be on here. Every single one of them are really decorated and have their own particular power and superpower, I should say, and skill and gift in their own right, and to come and align for the sake of delivering and sharing this information about our ancestral birthright and our ancestral heritage is special. It means a lot to me just to be a part of it, and definitely to see all the pieces that are coming together, to kind of make this happen. And it goes back to I think what we spoke about in the call I had yesterday. I had the sisters on here from Yeye's daughters from the Oloye Temple. They came on. We spoke about her coronation and everything. But it was just so dope to hear everyone speak about how service matters more than anything else in this tradition. How, what I'm saying, the people who are doing it the right way are doing it not for titles, not for fame and, what I'm saying, status and all that, but doing it for the sake of serving and helping people and helping our families and our communities. Like that's what, like the last 3 or 4 days that we recorded, it's been consistent humility, service, you know what I'm saying? And like really contributing to the community is on the forefront, even amongst all the political titles and political chieftaincies and all these things, which I'm happy and very proud to see and to, witness. But I love the fact that the last 3 or 4 shows, the fact of having humility, integrity, and the sake of service be at the forefront of almost each one of these last few calls that we've done. And I love it. And one of them was from a brother who's only 24 years old, but he really is wise beyond his years. And it just, it amazing. So it's like, I love seeing that. And I love just being a part of it. And, it did strike a chord with me in a positive note yesterday. I ain't gonna lie, my energy was depleted. I was running off.
You whip. You wore out. Okay.
Man, listen, I was walking on field, man. I felt like I was like, and I know the feeling because every time I've ever been to a Matanza, I get that, I feel that same thing. There's a lot of energy transfer, going on in those ceremonies. But it's powerful, and every time I feel like it does dig a deeper level of depth of appreciation that I have, for this culture and for this system and for our people, and it really does strengthen the desire to continue to get better, to continue to grow, to continue to study more, to continue to be able to help, and to heal more, to be able to serve the community. Because there's one thing I know in terms of life, like, yeah, you can have money and all this other stuff, but I'll take to a nice chunky check, but getting a nice check doesn't amount to, the thank you or, having served someone and knowing that what you were able to help them with is something that's really going to help them with their lives. Like that's a very special meaning and feeling to me. And that's why I give thanks for having, the opportunity to study under teachers like yourself, and my godmother and my elders. It's like, I really appreciate that because it gives me not only the confidence and the courage to know that what I'm doing and I'm doing for the right reasons, in the right way, but also knowing that I have a counsel that I can go to if there's ever a time when I feel like I don't know for sure or I'm questioning, something that I need to know. I'm extremely blessed to be able to call you on the phone whenever those types of moments happen, because that's considered to me, that's wealth. That makes me feel wealthy spiritually because I have access to an infinite amount of wealth when I have access to, master teachers and, Babas like yourself. So it's like, I definitely want to try to be that for the people who, support us on this channel, because that's what it's really all about, and I really do appreciate all the love and support from everybody who's been supporting us, and also for all the speakers and guests that we've had to come, and share their light and share their stories.
Well, I'm honored, and appreciate to you, for your spiritual and your balancing of the world, because we have to balance it. I'm overjoyed to be alive to see this kind of transition.
I should.
Because I'm gonna tell you, back in the day, it wasn't always like this.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, had a little gangster rock to it. You know, and being in Jersey and being close to New York City,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there was some pretty rough individuals who was into this.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and it was all about, at the end of the day, control and kind of you know establishing territory. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It was just that deep. Now, on the flip side of the coin, it was those coming through, um, who were lecturers, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and part of their dominance was controlling the information.
Yep.
See, now that led to a lot of conflict a lot of times, you know, especially when somebody like me comes along and say, I don't care about none of that. You know, I don't care about none of that.
Oh man.
I don't care who you are. You don't have it like that. Not with me.
I
You
know
know,
that.
now I ain't for a violin from from some crook. It ain't gonna happen. And I
Yeah.
ain't nobody's hand. Forget that.
Mm.
It's gonna happen.
Mm.
You know, and then yeah, you have you have the knowledge, and I appreciate that, and I'm
Right.
seeking to learn, but it
Right.
doesn't really seem like you want to teach.
Right.
You know. And then it it gets on you. You stole my godchild, or he belongs to me, and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
You know, said now I got to do something about this. You know, and it can't just be a little pinch of whatever. I got to make a difference.
That's facts.
And whatever it was that was driving me to the capacity to do it had me pin, you know, the handbook and OG say.
Mm.
And again, I didn't do it for fame or fortune. I did it because somebody needs to do something, and that somebody needs to be me right now.
Mm.
Because see, I don't really, I can't really accept that this is what our ancestors were wanting us to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Who can cast the strongest spell, and who can be the most, powerful witch on the block and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You're missing out on the purity and connecting to the grace of you. What are we doing to help our people with this? Everybody who gets involved with this doesn't have to be initiated. Everybody who gets involved with this doesn't have to give you money. you know Everybody who gets involved with this doesn't have to fear you, or what the Orisha going to do if you don't do this and you don't do that. Back to that whole fear mongering thing, which seemed to be more important, at least from my experiences. I can't speak for everybody, and I'm sure there's some exceptions to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
But I've traveled from the east to the west, okay, and from the north to the south. And what I'm saying to you is what I gathered. And that is, most of the other folks wasn't about helping our community
Yeah.
at all. At all. There's never any talk of it in the elays. There's never any talk, there's never any talk of it in the books that were being written. There was never any consideration taken into Isheshe, at that time more called Yoruba or Lukumi Santeria, or whatever, the synchronism was, being an uplifting endeavor.
Mm.
And humility, are you kidding me? No. Okay. You hit the floor, bow down, bow down, bow down, bow down. And people come forward, bow down. I tell them, get up, man. I don't like that. I don't do it. People recognize me in the daggone grocery store. I want to kneel and if you don't get your behind up.
Listen, I know you said it like that, boy. Because listen, I know you said it just like that too.
Like that. I don't know. I got no other way to say it. You know what I mean? But it's like, that that's just who I am. That's how I be. I never got into it for that kind of ruler.
Fanfare and all that.
Right. It's like, how can I best come up with a way to help?
That's where you get that's where not only do you make the most impact, but that's where you have the most influence over the most authentic people. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I'm telling you, because I respect people who move, selflessly and with humility. And even, whatever, I don't care what their financial status or their priestly rankings or initiations, titles, whatever the case may be. I have the utmost respect for people who move the way you move, because that makes me know that there are a lot of people who are doing this and doing it at a very high level for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's also been like a current theme on the last few episodes that we recorded, is about, doing it for the right reasons and not for the fanfare or for people to be dobalaying to you, like worshiping you. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you did a lot of work to get to this point, but it doesn't make us better than nobody. And one thing I've always felt is, I know I'm not better than nobody else, but I damn sure know anybody better than me. You know what I mean? I gotta meet people that way, because that's just how I really feel, and it's nothing that means more. Like a few people that I met years ago with the other podcasts that I used to do, and I remember seeing them at an event here, and they was like shocked that I lived here, because I guess they were watching the channel, and thought that I was else. But like the way that the love was shared, and the way that they the welcome that I got, it was dope, and I gave them the same energy. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, that's what it's really supposed to be about. Like, it ain't about all that other stuff, and I don't like people who flex like that, because it's like, you're not better than nobody else.
Right.
Nobody. Right. I ain't better than the homeless man living on the highway, and the person who living in a $50 million mansion damn sure ain't better than me either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we all come from the same source. We're all part of the all. Right. Period. Your part of the all can never be better than anybody else's part of the all, or vice versa, because none of us are the creator of the all. You know what I'm saying? So,
that doesn't stop us from certain people from thinking that way. You know what I mean? And they hardcore at it too.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't care how hardcore they are. When the great God of heaven make that call, show me how hard you are. That call don't get answered. You know, so you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna talk about being hard, show me that you ain't gonna answer that call when it comes through, and then I'll see how hard you really is. Because that's one thing I know about me, boy. I'm not playing with that.
People, they something, man. But just echoing what you're saying, about, again, being in tune with the nature of existence. Understand? And you can hardcore yourself to feel separate or beyond. Now, show them respect. Yeah, euphoria ballet, show them respect. But it's a posture, and people can posture, but they may not really feel the way that we would like them to feel. And we may not really be the way that we would be most helpful being. Because anybody can take the throne. They can take it militarily. They can poison you in your sleep. But you can sit on that throne, and you can be king, you can be queen, but that doesn't mean you're a good person. That doesn't mean you're going to be doing right for your people. And the same thing happens on the priestly level. You can be on that throne, but that doesn't mean that you have the best of intent nor integrity. So if you want to feed your ego, then there's a whole lot of places that'll fill you up. you know, but at what cost?
Mm.
You know, at what cost? You know, and I once wrote a piece that had, you know, just a few lines. You know, the hungry gave me food to eat, the homeless a place to stay.
Mm.
You know, and I started to piece off of that, and people were like, "Well, how can hungry people give you food, and
Mm.
how can homeless people give you a place to stay?"
Mm.
And I said, "Well, think about it. Think about it. Food isn't just always, you know,
Um, Some
something
you
physically.
chew up and swallow.
Yeah, I can be inspired by a homeless person. You know, I can be made to think, you know, of how appreciative I need to be. You know, I can be made to realize that perhaps I should help this person if I can. And a momentary act of kindness or compassion has rippling effects
That's
that go
fact.
both ways.
That is big things.
Okay. So the hungry are always feeding me because I'm always striving to be fulfilled and to fulfill
That's
others.
right.
And the homeless gave me a place to stay. You know what I mean? No, no, well, how if the person is homeless, how they gonna give you a place to stay? They don't even have a home. So yeah, they have a home. They're still living.
Mm.
They're still existing. And that home may not be the mansion or the house or the apartment. It may be that cardboard box, but they may be happier in there than you and I could ever realize. So I need to learn to appreciate what I have and make my home home to anyone who needs shelter. You
Mm.
see, so you know these are insights that come from being in Isheshe. These are insights that come from resonating, you know, with the essence of life, with the harmony of nature.
Mm.
Yeah, it can be a dog eat dog world. Yeah, there are the hunted and there are the hunters. Okay, yes, that is. But the, inside of all of that, inside of all of that, for us is our humanity. And if Isheshe is not leading you, and if Ifa is not leading you to the depths of your humanity, then all I can say is rethink and reconsider.
Mm.
And then whatever you conclude, peace.
Mm. I sure. Yeah, that's definitely one of the most valuable things in the world to me. My time and peace. Like,
Yeah,
well, them
yeah,
two right there, man. Listen, yeah, buddy. Take a lot of deep pride in them two, man. For real. Let me ask you, because I know we're getting, I guess, close on time, but
yeah.
let, I got a few more. If you, how much time you have? You got a few more, or how much time you got?
I got forever, man.
I got you. Well, shoot, I might ask a few more then while I got you. So, so with that, let me see. Uh, I know when we were speaking earlier about the energy exchange when you had, when you're at ceremonies, when maybe offerings, or epos, rituals, etc., are taking place. Um, I've always felt a very powerful energy exchange, and then I've always felt the depletion of energy after some of these rituals, right? So where, well, let me ask this part first. Why do we feel so depleted after we are involved with certain types of ceremonies and rituals, and then how can we, like, how do I process this energy transfer and the effects of this energy? So I'll say kind of like, for those who might not have been part of any Orisha Ifa ceremonies or rituals per se, it's like, to me, this a similarity of not in the sense of being intoxicated, like having too much to drink, but it is a way of like maybe little minor disorientation, or just feeling like, you know, your energy or your spirit is kind of like in a lot of different places, or just different, like it just feels different. Like what would you attribute that, you know, that feeling of like the depletion of energy, or just like your energy is kind of feeling like it's been pulled in like multiple different.
It's normal, man. It's normal. Okay. I mean, you go for a walk and get tired and lightheaded. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
You can stand up too quickly. You know what I mean? And feel a little dizzy. You know what I mean? You can go to the weight room. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's all
Ebbs and flow of energy. Huh?
yeah. You know, and in that light, you gotta learn to pace yourself, because see, you know, as discussed, you know, we don't want Isheshe people addicted to our bows.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, but as we who perform the bows, we don't want to be addicted to doing them either,
Oh, absolutely not.
because it's all an adrenaline kind of rush. It's all an endorphin kind of thing. You know, when you let in blood, okay, when you know, sacrifice a creature, many things happen, even to you. Okay, because if we're taking into reality that the Orisha are in us, and we making a bow to the Orisha, then it's not something that just goes out there.
Mm.
It goes in here.
Mm.
Okay, it goes in here for the person for whom the bow is being made, and it goes in here for those of us who perform the bow.
Mm.
And if you don't recognize that, you can damage yourself. You can damage yourself, because too much is too much. Too often is too often. Okay, and as they used to say, and maybe they said, too much of a good thing can be bad.
Yeah. I was thinking that too when you're saying that.
Okay, so having periods of time to rest, to rejuvenate, perhaps write things down, which was one of my ways, you know, because now, you know, I'm rethinking the experience. I'm looking at it from, you know, this part of my brain, and then I'm like trying to figure this out. Why am I feeling this way, and what am I going to do about it? Okay, and then I've had, you know, teachers who would say, okay, well, you know, do this, do that, you know, like a coach might tell you to, you know, take a salt bath or something like that, replace the salts in your body.
Yeah.
Okay, and salt kind of thing, get into a nice stuff, soak your body. Okay, so you got to do the same thing with your spirit.
Mm.
Okay, with your essence. There are times you just need to rest it and give it what it needs: nourishing meals, good conversation, okay, a walk with nothing else to do but breathe.
Mm.
Keep bowls of water around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Every now and then, you know, make that ID move. You know, some palm oil on your SU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Give Obatala some shea butter. You know, put your head in white and just chill. You know, you don't always have to be, you know, there, because you're not doing anybody any good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a nervous, you know, or uptight surgeon. You know what I mean? No, I don't want you operating on me right now.
I know that's right.
You know what I mean? You know, go take a vacation or something. And come back, you
3, 4, 5 day weekend, man.
You know, before you come back talking about you want to cut me open.
Right. That's facts.
But you know, I just draw that analogy lighthearted to say it's the same type of thing. You know, because we don't have to get folks all worked up. You know what I mean? There ain't no holy roller stuff going on up in here.
Right.
You know, this is serious. And when folks used to come back from war, they would have to go to the Ogun priest, you know, before being put back into the society.
Wow.
Because there had to be a chill session.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Ogun just wasn't about sending people off to war. And when you use that knife, you are bringing Ogun into the essence, into the reality.
That's facts.
So it's not just about you doing the elbow. It's also about you, you know, pulling yourself back together after the elbow is done and doing something for that person whom you perform the elbow to, you know, encourage them to do the same, not to just go seek out another elbow after elbow after elbow after elbow. It's like, come on, people, come on. You know, that's them other folks' way of looking at it. You know,
because it's driven by money with the type of people who do that, though,
and ignorance. Okay, because you know on the real side of it, they don't see Isheshe as a saving grace.
Facts.
They don't see Isheshe as an upliftment, especially of the Black community.
Facts.
You see, so they're left with nothing else but the money. But it's the ignorance that drives the greed.
Mm.
You know, and dare I say, it's the superiority complex, you know, coming from being these more so descendants of slave owners, and then more so oppressed and kind of forced into a belief system,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that is harmful to us. Okay. And I'll put that in quotes because I know some people say, oh, well, it saved my life and all that kind of, yeah, as far as you can grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's cool. I don't have to try to put nobody down. Trust me.
Right.
I do have some insights and understandings that can lift people up.
I say.
And, you know, I don't care where you are. All right. So the whole thing, my brother, is you got to know when to go to war, and then you got to know when to come back into you know into the peace of family, of life, okay, of upliftment.
I say.
Okay, and that won't be done by more bloodletting.
Mm-mm.
Okay, you have to piece it out, and you have to piece the people out after the abodes.
I say. And that's where the essence of Obatala that we spoke about in the beginning of the last conversation comes in. That's when we have to attune to that level and that frequency of Obatala. You know, the peace, serenity, the elevating of the Ori. You know, all those different elements of Baba. I think is when I try to put ourselves in that particular space, in that particular mind.
I'm glad you brought that up because it was something that's just tearing at me to share. Okay, even from our last conversation, you know, about Obatala. When I put Obatala at the throat chakra, okay. First of all, folks were literally burning the book because you know they couldn't get with it. It was just too far of a separation from their parochial school.
Yeah, you was way too far ahead of their time, man. Way too far ahead of their time.
But it's all right because see, you know, you got Eastern and you got Western, and then okay, but where's Africa? You know, it's not seemingly a part of the Eastern sciences, and it's not a part of the Western science. So it's just this largest continent that's nowhere.
Right.
And I'm saying, well, maybe it's all by itself. But I'm going to take the east because we went east before we went west. All right. So I said, well, when I think of Obatala, and there's been others who've come after me and they've had, their views on it, and I appreciate it. I'm just elated that I kind of opened up, the possibility of even discussing Orisha more so internally. Okay. Esoterically. All right. I said, well, here's the throat chakra. Okay. Now, on a real negative side, when people are beheaded, it's generally here. When people talk about, doing this, it's here. But it's not just that. On the clear of definitions, this is where the thyroid gland is. Okay. And what I've discovered through my practices, they all encourage practitioners, devotees of the art, to feel that air coming through the throat chakra, to kind of unclog that area. When you want to clear, and when people ask you to, compose yourself or take a deep breath, it's meaningless unless that breath gets down into your body. The thyroid controls all the major glands. Okay. And if we start looking at the Orisha, again, internally, and the hormonal structure of Orisha becomes then a matter of study, then who controls that? Obatala. And the way I see it, Rumile is all up here, third eye, opening up to different realms. Okay, get it. Eshu, the messenger, the nervous system. I mean, come on, it's not rocket science here.
Yeah.
It's just that there's so many blockages. And as we've been stating throughout, our whole dialogue today, is that we are made to not see ourselves.
Right.
Okay. So at any rate, so we have Obatala here as a controlling element, as the keeper.
Right.
Who we can say is the king. He makes sure everything else is in harmony. Everything else is flowing right. So after the elbows, so to speak, I've learned that if I concentrate my breathing on feeling that air come through and stimulate that gland, then my whole body starts to feel a sense of serenity. And start sharing that with the people. I even share that with my students. So okay, we getting ready to study now. Just want everybody to just breathe thought into your mind, breathe life into your words, breathe power into yourself. But you need to feel that air passing through this chakra. You see? So it's all a study of deeper understanding. So I don't know if that kind of addresses the issue that.
No, it did. It did. And what's amazing to me is as you was like closing up the answer, I thought about it because everything that you said, it all made sense and it resonated. But one of the very last things you said really like kind of I guess sparked my Ori was when you said that you have to have the air to be able to go through there. But when we're talking about Obatala in terms of being, the Orisha, he's a sky god, right? Isn't he? He's attributed to the sky. He's attributed to the highest points, the top of the mountain, And so, that makes perfect sense to me because when we equate the sky, we talk about air.
Yeah. See? So, when we move forward with the evolution of Vishesha, okay, we go back in order to move forward. But in our present state, assisting people in opening up to nature, opening up to the the need to expand their consciousness, to be in nature more. Doesn't mean you have to go camping for a week, or you know what I mean, go canoeing for, you know, it just means that, you know, you just need to take a quiet walk and listen. Okay. And sometimes you just listen to your own heartbeat. You understand? And these become mystical experiences, but they're happening anyway. You just need to attune yourself and not exhaust yourself seeking to find some, you know, again, supernatural, you know, because this is some Eurocentric screening of what our way is, you know. Yeah, there may be some elements that ring of a certain truth, but not everybody in any given society is a criminal. Not everybody in any given society is someone who murders. But you do, you know, now the Europeans come in with the Christianity, and what they take what little they see and then they push it out to the world. Like, see, this is what they're about. Well, I could say the same thing about you if I wanted to promote, you know, your inconsistencies and your, you know, inhumanity. I can. I mean, it is well documented. But see, we need to step beyond their bird's eye view of us and embrace the greater being of us. And Isheshe may not be the only way to do it, but I can say from my experience, yeah, it's up there. Okay, what I mean. Not Isheshe, not syncretism and all that kind of other stuff. Okay.
Right.
But that's it. What I'll say on IMO, in my opinion.
Right. Nah, that's real.
But I'll close with that, man.
I think that right there. I don't know. I think that's the mic drop that you hit in the beginning. But I couldn't let it go because it just started. But I think that's a damn good mic drop for sure. I definitely think that I ain't trying to go past that one.
Hey,
that was I felt like it was a perfect segue. You know, I mean, to wrap it up and close it up based off the whole, you know, energy and atmosphere of the conversation. So and yeah, so I appreciate it, Baba, as always. And look, I took heed to your insight of the last the last one was on and grabbed it.
Can't see the title. Ah, yeah. Oh, they got a new picture on and everything. They stepping up.
Look. They ain't the only ones that be switching it up, because I remember one time I was looking for the handbook, man, and I was like, man, what's going on? Wait a minute, man. This ain't the handbook I know. Hey, you know, switch it up on me. There you go. Look, hold on. Let me get mine.
Come on, people.
Yeah.
Get this book right here, okay? Right.
Listen, that is look, this is how mine's look. I got the throwback joint. I ain't got right. Yes, sir. But this is my joint right here. We're going to get into this. We're going to dedicate a whole show to both of them, like one to the handbook and then one to this one, because you know that's my joint right there too.
Right. I'm with you.
Because one over the other, because they got special look. It's like, to me, it's like a Benz or a Beamer? Is it a Ferrari or a Lambo? It don't matter, because you know I like them both. Give me one. I'll take either one of them.
Right.
For real. I'll take either one of them.
Yeah, and when my people out there in the listening world, you know, get a hold of the book. You know, I mean, you know, it becomes, you know, a little easier to understand where all of this is coming from when you kind of apply yourself, you know, to the knowledge. And then that way, if you have questions, you know, when we chat or when you know, respond, you can always just ask the question. You know, we're here for you. You know, we're just not talking the talk, you know, to try to get, you know, Facebook followers and all that kind of stuff. You know, this is sincerity. This is what sincerity looks like.
I sure.
This is what sincerity looks like.
I sure. Yep. That's real. And you know, And like I said, it just to me, you talk about surreal moments. I still think about how many years I read this book before I even met anybody who actually was in the religion, in person. And then, after about, I don't know, 5-6 years of having it and reading it, I finally met some people who could kind of, guide me to my, the right direction. But still, I'm greatly humbled and appreciative because, this is not the first time that I've had the pleasure of meeting someone who I truly, admired their work. And I'm forever indebted and grateful for, the creator for aligning my path with, people such as yourself that are willing to take time to take, a little dude like me to under their wing, you know what I'm saying? Like coach him up a little bit. So I definitely appreciate it. And man, it's, it's a dream come true for real. It really is. And we got years of history together with these types of conversations, and so they'll forever be in my treasure chest of accomplishments and just work that I'm proud of. So that I definitely appreciate it, and the people really do too, man. It's definitely well received and definitely well appreciated from the listeners that we have.
Well, it's nice to get flowers before the grave,
Yes.
and trust me, I take time to inhale the essence of it, and to admire the beauty of it, I really do.
Ashe.
I
appreciate it. Well, Baba Oloye Ifa Karade dropping through again, making it do what it do, making it be what it be. So I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the love, the support. Once again, as always, I'm not gonna be greedy at all, but it's only 2 buttons. Ding, ding. Just even if you don't want to do both, I will take the subscribe. But anyways, we definitely appreciate all of those who are showing love and support. It really is truly appreciated.
Hold on. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, does it?
No. Absolutely free.
I mean, so
$3.99, $3.75, $3.25.
Okay, so if it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, then I'm wondering what's the holdup. Okay.
Don't know.
Come on, we support the institutions,
Please.
Right. Come on, we need to show these people we about something.
But it is what it is. It definitely is. The love is definitely there, though. It is. Right. But with that, though, we definitely do appreciate you all. So this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. So please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all on the next video. We appreciate y'all. We out. Peace.
All right, peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and praise your